Hello, everyone. This is Friday afternoon, February 10th, the fifth day of the earthquake in Turkey. And I want to take a few minutes to share with you what's happening. This is my third update on the Turkey earthquake. Early Monday morning, while everybody was sleeping, a Richter scale of 7.8 earthquake hit in the southeastern part of Turkey. And after that were many tremors and aftershocks. Now over 1,000 recorded in the last 5 days. This is the fifth day. And about 9 hours later, a 7.6 Richter scale earthquake hit about 100 kilometers north of the first one. So it was a double earthquake. And nothing like this has really happened in modern history that we know of. And of course, this is the greatest natural disaster to hit my home nation of Turkey. The devastation is massive. The scale is huge. The earthquake shifted something like 6 meters with the fault line, and you can see where the splits and the amount of energy that was released is tremendous. These earthquakes are massive in their scale, and to have double earthquakes and many other aftershocks, some in the 5 and 6 scale, are devastating. So the devastation is spread in a very wide area, about 500 kilometers by 200 or 300 kilometers. So it's a huge area. 10 provinces were affected. The destruction is massive. Just in the city of Antioch, 90% of buildings have been completely destroyed. Even as of now, 120 hours after, I'm watching the news here, 120 hours after the earthquake, they still are pulling out occasional bodies out of the rubble through search and rescue. The natural need is tremendous. Trying to get supplies into the region is hard because it's also winter, very cold. Some areas are below 0 degrees Celsius with snow. I'm hearing reports of, especially Antioch and Hatay, those cities are completely destroyed. There's almost nothing left. Maybe they might have been able to pull out 1% of the bodies from the reports I'm hearing. The death count is over 20,000, but it's probably tenfold that. It may reach 500,000. There are still smaller towns and villages that have not even been reached. The humanitarian crisis is absolutely massive, unfathomable. It's huge. The needs are huge. It takes a while. I know I'm getting contacted by a lot of people who want to go in there, but right now is really not the time because it's just chaos. Right now, I mean, the roads have been damaged. They're starting to fix the roads, trying to get the snowstorms also, and the convoys of people getting stranded, trying to get in, get out. Right now has been the time for mainly emergency operations, search and rescue, the military and medical teams to go in, even as many hospitals in the region have been destroyed. So very challenging, trying to pull bodies out. Of course, logistical disaster, government screwing up some things, doing some things right, doing some things wrong. Very challenging. This time, though, like as opposed to before, they've actually allowed a lot of foreign aid to come in, foreign teams to come in, which sometimes they wouldn't even allow them. So this is definitely a big change, but it's a disaster. And we're also seeing, of course, bad construction practices, corruption, and maybe bribery in getting permits for buildings that should have never been permitted are being exposed. And the disaster scale is huge, like nothing we've seen. This has really changed the nation, changed everything. Right now is not the time to go in. There are people. I'm personally in communication with a lot of pastors. I'm actually going to be joining. I joined Zoom calls, and I'm on WhatsApp groups communicating with Turkish leaders, pastoral leaders. Some have lost their churches in the area, have been damaged. Other churches have kind of become refuges. Pastors still have unaccounted for members, but they're trying to do their best. Already mobilized, getting in there. We as a ministry have been fundraising. We're starting to see funds come in. I want to encourage you to get behind the Turkey Earthquake Relief Fund, which will be in the description with a lot of different links and ways to give of this video. Please get behind it. We were part of sending an 18-wheeler supply. We contributed to that, leaving Istanbul to go into the area. It should be arriving soon, but it's a very tough road, very slow travel right now. They're trying to get people out of the region, move them into other areas. Right now, search and rescue, and of course, emergency supplies. Because it's cold, people need heating, people need blankets, people need clothing and coats, and they need, of course, food, and of course, tents, which is, many are still on the streets. Many bodies have not been recovered. They might have been able to reach maybe 5 to 10%, maybe 10, a little over 10% of actual wreckages in the major cities. So we have the body count. It's underreported, but also probably they just pulled out. Oh my God, they just pulled out a pregnant woman. Unbelievable. In the city of Gaziantep at the 106th hour. And then, they're still getting to bodies. There's still people alive. We're praying. I just actually led a live prayer, 1 hour prayer meeting, a prayer time actually on the Turkish Christian television network, with hundreds joining in to pray. People are shaken up. We're praying for revival. We're praying that what the enemy has meant for evil, God will turn for good. We've been praying for a major breakthrough, major shaking in our nation. And we're praying that God will turn this into a revival, and this will be an absolute drastic change in the nation. So I want to ask you to join us to pray for revival. Pray about next week. Possibly going to be sending a few people from Istanbul, from our team and our ministry staff, to scout the area. We're in contact with some teams that we're looking to work together with. It is far from our church in Istanbul, so the church is fine, our people are fine, but of course many have loved ones. Some have been lost. We also lost a couple in the earthquake who were graduates of the River Bible Institute Turkey, had studied with us for 2 years and were involved in our ministry. They didn't make it. Their 9-year-old son made it out. They were in the city of Iskenderun, close to Antioch. That area is probably the most devastated, even to the point where the city itself, on the shore of the Mediterranean, I think the land sunk down for about 1.5 meters or 2 meters, because sea level has risen and seawater has come into the shore areas of the city. That's what we're talking about. Literally a shift. In massive earthquakes like this, sometimes certain regions will sink by 10 to 15 feet and others will rise 10, 15, 20 feet. And then there'll be shift up and down, shift sideways, and it actually literally changes the geography of the region. And so what we're dealing with is a devastation like never seen before. I want to encourage you to get behind our hurricane relief efforts. We will eventually be sending in teams to evangelize and to minister and pray for people. Now is not the time, because it's chaotic, and I don't want to send in teams that will get stranded, because I don't want to send in people to help when the teams will need to be rescued. We don't want to be, and there's also aftershocks, and even for rescue workers, it's very dangerous sometimes while they're trying to rescue people from a rubble or a wreckage. Building collapses, and some of them have died just trying to rescue people. So it is very volatile right now. It's only been 5 days. Things have not settled down. The airports are still closed, and they're still trying to repair roads and airports. And there will be time to go in there. And we do want to go in and minister to people, because I always say, and I have experience with working with earthquake disaster areas and taking teams in, spent months doing that in the past earthquakes in Turkey. So I have experience. I know what it's like. And I'm just reading some stuff here now. One pastor reported that in Antioch, the stench of rotting bodies is distinct on the streets, because they haven't been able to reach people. even though it's colder, which has probably helped preserve the bodies a little bit longer. It's massive. Pray with us, stand with us for prayer for our nation, for the area where the earthquakes is very large that hit. Probably about 13 to 15 million people are affected. Of course, northern Syria, that's been ravaged by war for many years, has also been affected, and their infrastructure is even worse, and their makeshift construction is even worse, and a lot of damage there, and the death tolls rising in northern Syria as well. So stand with us to pray. Pray about supporting the work. We're going to be sending in supplies. We're working with teams on the ground with churches and trying to get supplies to Christians and churches first, and then to their neighbors, and so that they can reach out to the people, to the community, because this is outside of our community, but we are connected. Like I said, I am in communication with what's going on, and communicating also and strategizing about ministry teams, actual teams that will do ministry, because like I said, there's two dimensions. There's a natural side and there's a spiritual side. We do and must need natural needs. It's urgent, but if we don't meet spiritual needs, then we're really not doing anything that is permanent and eternal. So that's the key. Thank you for listening to this update. It's the 5th day of the earthquake. I'll do another update over the next couple of days, and be in prayer and consider sowing into the Turkey earthquake relief fund so that we can send supplies to help people, and then eventually teams that will not only distribute the supplies but also minister to people. Love you and thank you, and God bless you.